Thank you very much, everyone. Let's begin by you each giving your assessment of what you think is the most important issue as we look at the future of news. Thepchai, would you like to begin?
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. I think could I visit the former Prime Minister, our key speaker, summarized them in the whole issue of challenges facing the media quite well. It's so difficult to speak after him. I think one of the biggest challenges that we face at the Thai PBS newsroom, as I mentioned yesterday, are probably common challenges facing newsroom across the globe these days. I mean, we have seen how the digital disruption has changed the media landscape. We are seeing how the changing news consumption behaviors are affecting the way that we present or produce news and present news. But the biggest challenge that I think that we face these days, and especially in my case, is how to instill confidence in people in newsroom that there is future in what we are doing. And as Kun Abhisit just mentioned, that we're facing a variety of challenges that certainly, confront the very basic, ways that we do things. And of course, it's quite an irony anyway that they try to instill confidence in the news people that there's future in what we're doing in the face of dying of many media outlets. You know? Then a few weeks ago, while I was thinking of trying to come up with some thoughts for today's forum, and trying to think about a situation that would encapsulate all the challenges that the media are facing, then something hit home. There was an announcement by the leading news broadcaster in Thailand that it was scaling back its news operation that would lead to a layoff of about 100 people in the newsroom. And a week later, another a leading online news broadcaster announced a complete shutdown of its news service. And that would lead to layoff of dozen more people. And then the biggest worry is that at present in Thailand we have about 20 plus broadcasters. And their licenses will expire at the same time in 5 years' time. And all indications are that less than half of them will want to have their licenses renewed. So that means that half of the broadcaster will die off. So what does it mean? Because not to talk about the newspapers, right? Most of them have died out anyway in the past few years. So what is most worrying is the fact that there is a potential disappearance of diversity of news sources in the next few years' time. So what does it mean? It means that the role of the media in reporting truth, in being a guardian of truth, and all these responsibilities will be greatly affected by the diminishing number of the established media outlets. And especially the role of the media as a watchdog in holding those in power accountable will also be affected. So this is a fact on the ground that certainly challenge the idea of trying to instill confidence in the people that there's future in what we are doing. And what should be done? Okay, I'll save that for the next round maybe. All right.
Thank you, Francis.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. So I prepared a brief presentation of what is the challenge that faces media. So I summarize it into 4. That is reach, revenue, relevance, and to a certain extent, respectability. Because less people are watching us, therefore our reach has become less. TV advertising revenue is going down, and yet we're getting centavos from digital platforms. Our relevance, there's news avoidance, there's news fatigue, there's news aversion. It cannot be denied. And audiences are now preferring content creators and influencers versus mainstream media, and that affects our respectability. So if you look at this is data from our research. In 2010, 14 years ago, TV news was a major source of information with community conversations following next, newspapers and tabloids next. Just 17 years later, you see TV news as a source shrinking and digital news expanding. But if you see now, 2024, after the pandemic, and in our case, after the shutdown of our station, TV news as a source has become even less, with digital communities, meaning social media, as the leading source of information and digital news third. Sadly, newspapers and tabloids in the Philippines support a fraction of our information needs. And actually, they're also diminishing. So what can we do and what do? We protect and optimize our legacy. We continue to improve what we have and what we own and operate. That is our newscasts, that is our website. This is not reliant on any social media platform, yet it is our own. Whatever the platforms happen or do, we have our own legacy platforms. Yet, we also have to improve and expand our reach on digital, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the other social media platforms. We need to be there. And we have to tell stories in a different way that will capture and captivate audiences. Social media is not the enemy. It is a portal by which they will consume our news. And so it is still the story that matters in whatever platform we have. As if our woes are not enough, we also have to contend with false information and fake news. And I think unions and organizations like this is very important. We have to band together to counter false information. And I'd like to end my presentation with this quote from the Reuters study from Leah Korsgaard, editor-in-chief of the Zetland in Denmark. I worry that journalism as a business has been too slow to reorient and rethink its role and purpose. People don't miss journalism, but journalism miss people. And that is the challenge to all of us, to bring them back to credible sources of information. Thank you.
Suhaimi, what are your thoughts on the biggest issue?
Okay. In Malaysia, for RTM, actually we started with a hypothesis. We felt that people's attention span is getting shorter and shorter, and they don't read anymore. That's the hypothesis. And they don't like long nightly news. So we experimented, yeah? Because at first we thought they have moved from the big screen to the mobile phones, yeah? So what we did was we shortened our 1 hour news, very boring 1 hour news, and we condensed everything into a 15-minute news. But we have more stories in that news, and the ratings, the viewership, for some of the news programs increased by 100%, some 200%, and some by 300%. That's a lot for us. So that's on the terrestrial side. And we're also growing audiences on our OTT, on digital. So what basically is, at first we started with a hypothesis, and then we commissioned a study to one of the local universities, and they came up with the same results too. People can't manage information anymore. You know, they can only read like perhaps 3 sentences. Yeah, and then perhaps if they have time over the weekend, then they will do something to go in depth and find out more. So that's one of the things that we're facing at the moment. The second one is the money has moved from terrestrial to digital. So it's quite difficult to sustain. So what we do now is we try to unlearn certain things. Yeah, for example, we work together with the ministries. For example, we work together with our finance ministry to, because people hate business news, economic news, because it's so dry. Yeah. So what we did in Malaysia was we used cartoons, we used animation to tell the story of how the revenue for the country has increased by such and such a percentage, and that worked. And people loved it, yeah? So I guess people are so engrossed in making ends meet, and they work so hard, so they need to be entertained. So we realized that we need to unlearn some of the things that were taught in journalism schools, and we retrain our reporters to think fun, yeah, to present everything fun, not necessarily, you know, when I first started in journalism 32 years ago, when you don't have statistics, when you don't have bar charts, when you don't have bar graphs, the editors will throw your reports away. So, but today, if you don't have cartoons, if you don't have animation, that will not guarantee anything that people will consume your content. So it's basically changing. So the problem that we have now is how to unlearn what you have learned in journalism school. That's one of the things that we're also facing at the moment. Yeah, for now.
Thank you. Lyn, over to you.
Yeah, so I'm from CNA, we're headquartered in Singapore. It's part of the MediaCorp news brand stables. We report in different languages, but we all see the same thing. The biggest issue that we see facing the news industry today is not just news fatigue, it's very specific to bad news fatigue. So you would have seen the Reuters Institute's digital news report saying people are reading the news less, they are consuming less overall. But the key thing is because we are actually tarred with the same brush because of the specifically bad news fatigue, platforms are withdrawing from news. You see headlines like Facebook is no longer friends with news and so on. You can also see headlines like TikTok suppresses certain topics on news. YouTube, on the other hand, is trying to encourage news consumption. So you have all these platforms that are trying to package the news in a safe manner for their users that might not come to the platforms for specifically for news use. And therefore, our reach is being curtailed. It limits our revenue opportunities overall as well. So this is an opportunity for us to reinvent ourselves. And yes, it's a massive issue, but I find that the big issue we have to ask ourselves is, we always think if it bleeds, it leads. You know, sad and bad news always leads the program, always dominates our headlines on our website. What can we do next?
Thank you. Ömer.
Thank you, Deborah. Savati Ton Chao. Good morning. And thank you, ABU and Thai PBS for hosting us in this beautiful city of Bangkok. And there's a Thai saying, Nam kun hai reep tak. I'm not sure I'm said correctly, but it's said that when the water rises, quickly fill your bucket. This proverb emphasizes the importance of seizing opportunities quickly. We need to be open to innovation in the digital age. And we should not see AI age or these technological developments as a risk, but we should see as an advantage. We need to prepare well, improve our quality, and be ready for our competitors. I'm very positive about the future of news. We need to be optimistic, but it's really about bringing stakeholders together. We were talking about same concerts last month in Italy, Napoli, with our colleagues from EBU and Abu Rai days. Actually, we were together with Ahmet Nedim, Secretary General. And we must stand united and build the future together, because as ABU, we are reaching more than half of the world. And that people sees us as a reference networks. We were talking about the fact-check mechanisms, disinformation, misinformation, but we are the reference channels, and we need to continue like that. A year ago in Kuching, Malaysia, I said that our audiences' news behaviors are changing. And it changed and it continues to change. So in previous year, at that speech, I said that after 5 years, we may get news from contact lenses maybe. And the Apple announces their glasses. And what happened? I said again that after 10 years, maybe we don't need to get any news because of a chip that implemented to our brain. And Elon Musk implemented the first chip. So it goes very quickly. And we need to be ready for that and all together. Because all the conferences I attended as a speaker, we are discussing. We need to stop discussing, I guess, and we need to move, but all together. Because this is off the record, okay? So there, the big tech companies, this is another issue. So we need to collaborate with them, but okay, maybe another round table, I will tell more about this issue, okay? But we need to think about that. Yes, pervasiveness of technology, rise of misinformation, generative AI and synthetic content, these are the risks, but we need to be really clearly understand what is against us, who is against us, and who we are dealing with at the end. So that's all for now. So also I would like to tell what we have done already as TRT, but in other section or now, can I continue, Deborah?
Well, maybe we just canvass some of the other issues, and in particular that one on big tech, because it's a huge issue when so many news organisations have invested so much in getting onto social media platforms, in using that as a way to drive traffic back to their sites, and yet the future of being able to do that is seriously in doubt by decisions by Meta through Facebook and some of the other issues, potential bans in some markets of some platforms, restrictions on the age at which people can access social media. So would any of you care to comment on that issue in terms of, Francis, you mentioned the importance of having your own site and driving traffic straight there. Would you like to expand on that?
Yes,
Why
I
that?
can. Yeah. Our news website is not making money. That's one thing I can say. Because the money is not going to news sites. They're going to the social media platforms and to digital personalities. But we do endeavor to keep it up because it's not dependent on any social media platform. However, it is correct. People are reading less. But they will read something that has impact on their lives. They will read something that there's interest in. So what we're doing in ABS-CBN is we're creating a new unit that is called Digital as Primary Screen Team. We're no longer going to think broadcast when we tell a story. When we tell a story, the first thing in mind is, how will I do this in social media? How will I do this in the website? How will I do this in YouTube? Not anymore, how will I do this for the newscast? Or how will I do this for TV? Digital as primary screen. And so far, we've gained headway because it's a new way of doing things. And I told the team, if we do the same things in the same way, we cannot expect different results. So we have to do it differently.
Thepchai, in your essay, you say that Thai PBS doesn't focus on what's trending, it focuses on what's important. How do you strike that balance between your obligations as a public service media broadcaster, serving a national interest, a societal purpose, and being relevant to audiences?
First of all, your off-the-record remarks have just gone live. All right, we are live streaming this session and the other session as well. But to answer your question, I think it's very important that we have to understand that all those happenings out there, the news stories that are trendy, I think certainly, have been the domain of social media these days now. I think the more established media outlets should not try to compete with the social media platforms in reporting things that are trendy. I think. As far as Thai PBS, which is a public broadcaster, is concerned, I think our role is not just to report things, especially not to compete with any outlets in reporting things that are trendy or breaking news, things like that. But I think the idea of having public broadcaster and the idea of having any established media outlet is for these outlets to really report things that are important to the people as well. And beyond that, I think it's very important that the media, Thai PBS especially, also play a role of being a check on people in power. And being a broadcaster that really hold, whoever is in power or any interest group accountable. So that means that we also, not only Thai PBS, I think all the established media outlets, the expectation is that they should also, on behalf of the society, be a check on the interest groups across the society. So that means that they have the duties to pick up on important issues, but make them easy to understand so that people will be interested in all these issues that are important to them and be an active citizen in following up all these issues. And also, I think equally important is the role that the media, especially for the public broadcaster like Thai PBS, is to be a forum, a meeting places for people to talk about their views, their diverse opinions, so that there would be a diversity of views and opinions on important issues. And I think that's very important. For the mainstream media, to distinguish themselves from the rest of the media landscape is to be recognized as the sources of information that can be trusted and can be seen as the representatives of the society in keeping people in power in check. Yeah.
Thank you. Suhaimi, you've been undertaking a huge change project at RTM. How are you positioning RTM for the future? How do you see it developing?
I didn't go to journalism school. I studied marketing and I did my MBA and I came back and then suddenly I became a journalist. Moving forward, I think, journalists are trained, what, where, when, why, how, tell the story, complete. You have the sense of completeness and all that, yeah? But there's one thing missing. This is what we are doing right now at RTM. Most of our reporters right now, they are forced to think like marketeers, meaning, that's why I love the points brought by Francis. If that thing is very, very important to them, they will read. Yeah? So it is how you tell that story that's important to them. In fact, I think in this afternoon, there's a session where the people, the audience will determine what you would want to select as your main news. And I think that's superb, because that's the approach that we are actually using at RTM, which is the national broadcaster. So our reporters now are trained to think like marketeers. And if not, nobody would want your story, even though it's like an earth-shattering story from the point of view of an editor. Yeah, if it's not, because you go back to the definition of marketing, which is basically fulfilling the needs and wants of your customers. So you have to get the stories from their point of view, and if that story is not important, don't bother No, they will actually go to some of the celebrities and get content from there. So that's basically what we are doing at RTM, and it has worked for us. So you have to find the balance between nation building, doing your job as a true journalist and editor, and at the same time, you must make sure that you have the numbers. If not, you're not attractive to the advertisers. So you have to do the balancing. Sometimes on a continuum, you fail here, but you succeed here. So you do that on a daily basis. You do the juggling work, yeah.
One of the issues that came up in the Future of News survey appears to be a lack of understanding in newsrooms by journalists and producers at that level about what is happening in the industry. Has that been a challenge for you at RTM to get the message across to all people, not just management level?
That is why we, well, in RTM, we have what you call the Raise the Bar breakfast. Raise the Bar breakfast is, you know, sometimes we are very biased. We only call certain editors to your daily editorial meetings, you know, but you never call your driver or your cameraman because they are the ones actually out there consuming the news. Sometimes the ideas from the people who drive your car or from your security guard, they are the ones who actually will determine whether your news will be consumed by the people outside. So we open up, so I have breakfast every single day with my staff, and that's why I'm fat. Because that is the session where you actually get all those information and the feedback, yeah. So that is how you bring back all those experiences, you bring that to the editorial meeting, then only you'll be successful. And we have seen that implemented, and we like the results that we are seeing, actually.
Thank you. Lyn, at CNA, what's your focus in preparing for these changes and use of tools through generative AI?
So for us at CNA, we are not just a digital-first organization, we are an audience-first organization. So we decided a long time ago that TV needed to be reinvented. We cannot depend on the ratings to figure out our audience. So we decided, let's make sure that anybody who wants to watch our video content, be it current affairs programming or news packages, or live crosses that are recut and so on, can watch it anytime. So we've customized a tool with a third-party vendor, and it's called AI Smart Cut, and we can roll the video just to give you a sense of what it is. So the videos that are clipped out by AI Smart Cut are fed onto YouTube and our website just minutes from it airing. And we just have our TV journalists write the title and description because they know their work best. It also feeds our CNA TV app. The key thing for us is that we decided, okay, if I don't know that much about my viewer, what can we do? So we decided to make our TV content modular. People don't want to watch an entire bulletin. Sometimes they just want to look for specific things. So these are the bits and bobs that we put out quickly. So in future, if you wanted to search for latest coverage on a certain topic, for example, maybe it will be served as a customized bulletin. We just wanted to lay the foundation for that. So we trained AI for about 1.5 years. It works on, it recognizes voices, presenter and journalist voices, and then it also does natural language processing to decide that this introduction goes with this package or this question goes with this answer. It clips it out to 85% accuracy, and in the event that the in and out points are slightly off, we make it very easy for you to just fix that. So 1.5 years, we only launched it, I would say, towards the end of last year, but it's been pretty successful. We get our videos up from TV much quicker up online, and we are about to launch, we've just launched it for Tamil news bulletins. 85% accuracy. The simpler your bulletin is, the more recognizable patterns it is able to train the AI much faster. And we're about to launch it for Malay as well.
Wonderful, thank you. Ömer, what opportunities do you see at TRT?
Thank you, Deborah. And so I just would like to give an example about what we faced with these big tech companies, actually. And on the last year, 7th of October, everyone knows what happened in the Gaza issue, the massacre. And we are really on that issue to spread the news around the world, what is happening in Gaza. And we were producing contents, and when we woke up, suddenly, one of social media platform just deleted our contents without any warnings, just put some limitations. And when we discussed deeply about what happened, they cannot give us any reason for that. So that's just their rules. So actually a political issue for us. And we witnessed this thing too many times. So we decided then, instead of like using their rules and ways, we need to create a super app that customers, our own audiences, can follow us from our own app with same technology and like using AI and other new issues. So hopefully on October, with the General Assembly that we will host all of you, and we will launch our own new brand, and it will call TRT Global. It will be our umbrella brand of international operations. In 2 years, we took from 4 channels, 4 languages, to 13. And now, with the TRT Global, we will start broadcasting in 45 different languages, which will bring us at the first row for the language number. And with that super app, our audience will have a news assistant in 45 different languages. So you can ask for, please give me, TRT Global, please give me like 3 minutes news brief. What is happening in Gaza? What is happening in United States? How is Biden right now with COVID-19? So, and he's ill now. And so it's your private, customized news assistant driven by our TRT's own AI. So what we did actually, we have created our own LLM engine, AI engine. We put 5 years back archive with the machine learning that our AI now can produce news as well. But of course, we are not trusting it yet. But maybe after 3 or 4 years, we let our AI to produce news by itself as well. So what else we have? We have changed our all workflow, organizational charts, just to create more efficiency in our organization. So with the help of these new technologies, hopefully millions of our audience will follow us through our own app. So also, it's a leak for you. Our app will be like not the usual websites or apps that you are using right now. It's like scrolling, okay, the first time. And so we choose to create our own way, and hopefully we will be achieved to do it. And on October, you will hopefully use our application. And so we will serve our audience in 45 different languages. This is another opportunity to get news all around the world. That leads us to cover nearly more than 85% of whole world spatial content from the regions.
So with 5 minutes to go, I'd like to ask all of you, as news leaders, as CEOs, what your advice is to people in the room on how they prepare for the future. When timelines become ever shorter, so many factors to consider, what is your advice on their best approach? Thepchai.
Okay, I think what we are seeing as far as the technological advancements are concerned, I think we are only seeing the tip of the iceberg of things to come. I think we would be fooling ourselves to claim to know what lies ahead 3 or 5 years from now. But we know that things are changing very fast. And what I see also as an opportunity as well is that there will be a trend toward more customization and localization and personalization of news. Ahead of us. So that should, provide a good opportunity for established media, to take that opportunity, to really present things that really meet that kind of need in the future. But in doing so, we should also be aware of the need to avoid creating echo chambers and confirmation biases. But I believe that the more established media outlets will be in better position to really, offer that kind of services. More localized, more personalized, more customized, but with the contents that will enlarge the people, the knowledge or understanding of the things that are going on around them. I think that should be one of the ways forward. Yeah.
Thank you, Francis.
Yeah. 3 things. One is think like a marketeer. That's really a very good advice. Think like an audience. If you're bored with your own story, most likely your audience will be bored too. So think like an audience. That's number 1. Number 2, deliver unique content. As news organizations, one of the pitfalls is we have the same content, the same political content, the same business content, but endeavor to deliver unique content that will make the audience come to you because only you have it. And third, start to think global audience. Do not think just of your country. Think of reaching more audiences globally, because where the audience is, realistically, the money will follow to sustain our operations.
Suhaimi.
I will just repeat what Francis just said, because for us, it is basically about moving forward, get the AI, get the robots to do all the menial work for you, the transcribing, the scripting. You have to think, you do higher level thinking. This is the marketing part, the storytelling part, and most importantly, I think you said it right, differentiator. What is your differentiator and what is your unique selling proposition? And for us, we are moving to the export market because that's where the money is. And just one example, a very short example. The population of Malaysia is 34 million. Last year, on our digital platform, we recorded one single event, 10.3 million, unheard of in Malaysia. So I decided to check with the technical tech team. Who actually watched? Don't tell me a third of Malaysian population is actually watching this. Actually, it was a football match between Indonesia and Thailand. I think it's the finals of the SEA Games. But one thing that we learned from there is if you have your content well marketed, you can get audiences from around the world. That's our OTT basically, yeah, and also some other platforms. So they will come in, they know where to find good content. So thank you to the people of Indonesia and also Thailand for watching the soccer match, we recorded 10.3 million. So that's where we have to think internationally. Yeah.
Thank you. Lyn?
I think you have to diversify. Nobody is one note. The viewer that you are in the morning is not the same viewer at night. It's the same for reading as well. We have to prepare for asymmetric consumption of news. News should not be ephemeral. It should be searchable. So make sure that your content is modular, meta-tagged properly. It can be served on any surface that somebody wants. And one thing is, the answer is not clickbait, right? Just because people don't like that much serious news. You have to find solutions journalism to put in front of people. The one thing that I would say to all broadcasters and publishers is that, yes, you are very used to being that authoritative, credible source, but actually people just want to soothe their anxieties in a very fractured and difficult world. So how can you reinvent yourself as a smart, informed, trusted friend? And on every surface, could it be a chat app? Could it be YouTube? Could it be on your own app? The key thing is coming across as authentic and sincere. And that's where I see a tremendous opportunity for broadcasters like us. Essentially, video is having its moment because video transports you to a time and place and at moment. And that authenticity, you cannot recreate oftentimes with other types of media. Yes, you can have avatars. Yes, you can have all sorts of other nice, fancy things, but people just want information that they can see and trust for themselves.
Good advice. Thank you. Ömer?
I would like to say, let us seize leadership in shaping the future of news through innovation. Commit to truth and transparency, ensuring journalism remains a beacon of reliability. AI isn't just changing journalism, it's super changing our mission as well. From tailored content to global fact-checking, we are building a future where every story matters. Now, every voice is heard and truth prevails. And we should create the future altogether, not just as ABU, EBU, African Union, the other unions as well, as all public broadcasters all over the world. Thank you very much, Deborah.
A wonderful note to end on. Please thank our wonderful panel.